The child is no longer a child. The child is a mouse. I'm Liam, he's Rob, and this week on the Hey Guys podcast, we are looking back at beloved British fantasy horror comedy 1990s The Witches, the third part in our season of early 90s cult classics, or the unofficial third part in our unexpected white supremacy season of podcasts. At this point, I honestly don't know anymore. What I do know is that, well, beyond Roald Dahl's now somewhat infamous views on the Jews, this movie definitely has what amounts to a Nazi rally as the centerpiece of the film. Honestly, I'm not sure what has happened. Still, bizarre movie choices aside, this critically celebrated but financially disappointing take on one of Roald Dahl's most beloved books proves, if nothing else, that one exceptional performance can ultimately make a movie. Don't get me wrong, Nicholas Roeg's darkly comedic take on the source material remains as watchable as ever, but what could have been a pleasingly quaint little movie is elevated no end by Anjelica Huston's unforgettable turn as the Grand High Witch. Now, Rob, for me, this is one of those what I've referred to in the past as a core movie of my youth. And I say that as in, like, everyone I knew watched this movie and everyone I knew loved this movie. It was just one of those. Was it like a big part of your youth as well? I know you said before your wife loved it. That's for sure.
Yeah, my wife loves it. No, it wasn't a big part of my youth. I watched it, didn't get on with it, never watched it again. That was basically it. I mean, I said I'm probably not going to be as enthusiastic about it as you, but it's not one of those ones where I'm just going to look you dead in the eye and say it's shit. Like, not at all.
That would be harsh, in fairness.
Yeah, I mean, Anjelica Huston is loving what she's doing. She is having a fantastic time. The hole full of bald men caught me off guard because I've never seen it before.
I've seen this a lot of times, and I was vaguely aware that there were some men in the crowd in the conference center. Like 50% of them are dudes.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, you can't either have that many bald caps or make that many women bald, I guess. So you had to sneak in the dudes. So absolutely fine. Sneak in the dudes is fine. It's like a Mrs. Doubtfire convention. But all in all, I did have some fun with this movie. And it was like, it's quaint.
It is quaint.
I never read
that is the correct word.
Yeah.
The movie, I watched it, and it's very, I know it's a British American production, but when you watch it, it feels aggressively British. Part of it, of course, with the hotel and Rowan Atkinson
when you get to the hotel.
Yeah.
Sorry, when you get to the hotel, when Rowan Atkinson is doing his pre-Bean.
Because he's doing a Basil Fawlty impression to a T.
Well, he's trying to do Basil Fawlty, but I still think he's doing a bit of, like, it's the Bean pilot.
Well, like, you can't escape Bean with Rowan Atkinson. Yeah. It's always in there somewhere, isn't it?
And he's dressed like Bean.
He is. That's a good point.
But it's quintessentially, for me, it was quintessentially British. When you look at it, it looks like it's in. They never say where it is, but I'm assuming it's Bournemouth.
No, it's Cornwall. The actual hotel is
I know the hotel's in Cornwall, but I thought that the travel was Bournemouth, but they never mentioned it.
So maybe. I just know that the Headland Hotel, which is the actual hotel, is in Cornwall, and I know it's Hotel Excelsior in the movie, I just kind of assumed it was Cornwall, but you might be right.
Did you read the book?
Yes, as a kid, yeah.
So I don't think I have. I've read a lot of Roald Dahl, Matilda, The Twits, James and the Giant Peach. I could go on.
All kids read The Twits because it was the short one. You're like, I can fleece that pretty quick.
I'm not too sure I read The Witches. I don't know why. It just never was for me. But because they made this for kids, obviously, and I'm jumping right to the end here because I didn't know this until now. The ending changes. I always knew that the witch becomes a good witch and manages to change Luke back.
In the movie.
But in the book, in the movie, because in the book, he's still a mouse. It ends with him still being a mouse.
It's strange. So this is one of the reasons that Roald Dahl basically disavowed the movie. I think he liked it like everyone else. He liked Anjelica Huston, but he hated the fact that Nicholas Roeg changed the ending. And the interesting thing is, to appease Roald Dahl, they filmed both endings. So they filmed his version, and then they filmed the quote-unquote happier version as well. And when you watch the movie, you realize, especially if you've read the book, what happens is they just show both endings. So you have the scene where he is a mouse still and he's talking to Helga, his grandmother. And he says, he has a little speech about, oh, how long do mice live? Blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what happens in the book, only that is when it ends. It just ends there with basically saying, oh, how long do mice live? Or maybe we'll have long enough to go to America, blah, blah, blah. The only difference is on this one, they've just banged on an additional scene where, what's her name?
Miss Irvine.
Miss Irvine, Bubbles from Ab Fab. She comes back and suddenly decides to become. Yeah. It's Bubbles from Ab Fab.
Oh shit! I didn't put that together.
For American listeners, that's absolutely fabulous. So yeah, like that. The problem with that is, I guess beyond the fact that you might have an issue with the tacked on happy ending, is the fact that that character suddenly becomes benevolent. And it's like the whole movie, there's no suggestion that her character, other than being pissed off with the fact that she's playing second fiddle to the Grand High Witch, there's nothing to suggest she's suddenly going to become this really pretty, really nice witch who suddenly seems to have lost all of her ugly features. And she's just like, oh, I'm super happy, nice witch now. It feels like it was just forced in just to get that happy ending, which is a bit of an issue, but whatever. I kind of got over it.
You mentioned the grandmother Helga, played by Mai Zetterling, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's useless. She is absolutely useless in this. She's quick with the story. That's absolutely great. She's quick with the story. She'll tell you all about witches.
Yeah, and from a structural perspective, she's actually great because I think the way she tells the story and informs us of the witches and does all those hard yards, but kind of presents it as a story. It feels so natural. She tells it in quite an enchanting way, and you feel like you're off to the races, and then you can get on with the movie. But as an actual character in the film, yeah, totally useless.
Oh, that's great. But then after everything happens to this kid and stuff like that, and everything goes on, she's always then ready with an explanation after the fact.
Yeah.
Like everything that happens is after, like she's gone up and I and I'm not diabetic. You look at me, you might think my toe's going to fall off any point, but I'm not diabetic. So I don't know if it knocks her out to you. Like she didn't do anything.
No, and that's the weird thing. Like at one point, Anjelica Huston's character, the Grand High Witch, she kind of says, "Oh, like my old adversary." Like they've got this kind of beef going on. But she, like you said, she never actually suggests, even in the flashbacks, it never suggests that she really did anything. And then as an older lady, she doesn't really like. She even has to be forced. Like the sequence when they become mice, which is one of those things I kind of forgot that the second half is basically just Stuart Little. I knew there was mouse stuff. I just didn't realize like half the movie was Luke and his buddy
Bruno. I mean, come on, stop trying to force a fat kid who's not really fat down our throats. Like, bless him, he's a bit he's a bit rotund, but he's not the fat kid who should be eating everything. Like,
no, I mean the only thing the thing I truly love about Bruno is his name is so ill-fitting. Bruno Jenkins sounds like an NFL player. Did you ever watch that Key and Peele sketch, East versus West Bowl?
Yeah,
it's like
Lamarius the Darkest the Third, or whatever it was.
Yeah, you can imagine him coming out and being like Bruno Jenkins, wide receiver, Clemson University. Instead, we get this chubby little posh kid who, let's be clear, I have no idea why he sounds like he does. He has the most Scottish father in movie history. Bill Patterson might be the most Scottish motherfucker in Hollywood history. Like, why? Like, even if he sends him off to boarding school, there's no way Bill Patterson is your old man and you're not picking up a bit of a Scottish role.
We might be able to blame the mother for his accent if she ever spoke other than screamed. I didn't get her accent at all because she didn't say anything, because every time she tries to speak, Mr. Jenkins is just popping in there as your quintessential 90s father. Just, I know everything that you know nothing, and you're a woman, and it is a proper
kind of like, and that's one of the things I liked about this film, beyond the fact that it's quaint. Like, even when I was younger, so this film, like, I was the same age as Luke when this came out, when I watched it back in like 1991. And even then, despite the effects from Jim Henson, and this was the last movie he ever worked on. He was an executive producer on this movie before he passed away. Beyond the kind of cutting edge puppetry and all that jazz, the film has an old fashioned aesthetic, and there's something about like the hotel and the fact that like that kind of British holiday vibe. I'm sure you'll notice, like when everyone kind of scarpers out of the hotel, they're all dressed like holiday makers, but because it's a British holiday, the sky is like cobalt grey for the entire movie. You never see the fucking sun. And like
they even mentioned go outside and enjoy the sun like the other boys. Apparently there's other boys in this hotel, but there's no.
You never
You
see
never
them. You
see it.
never see the son. There's a bit when after they find Luke at the convention center and he runs away from them and he goes outside. Anjelica Huston go and is one of the dark moments. And let's be clear, a pretty dark kids movie.
Yeah,
She
she was going to Peter
pushes
Pan
the
him.
Yeah, she pushes the baby in the carriage down the hill. But all of a sudden, the woman whose baby it is and the carriage look like they came out of like 1927. It just all looks wonderfully old-fashioned.
So I said Peter Pan him because Peter Pan went, no, 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 it's fucking Untouchables 1927. It's the woman whose baby pram goes down the stairs.
Which again is a reference to Battleship Potemkin from like 1927. That's like a
Yeah.
famous one of the more famous scenes, certainly from like the silent era of cinema, with like the pram going down the stairs with all the action going off and stuff like that.
So,
but yeah, she battleship Potemkins him. I'm not sure if that works quite as well.
it's I mean, yeah, you're right. That was dark. I gotta admit, she's just coochie the baby and then just hikes him down the fucking hill, and you're like,
well,
oh, good on Luke, mind. He's being chased by all these witches who just turned the quote unquote fat boy into a mouse, and he's like, "No, I gotta save this kid," and he saves him just before he falls off the smallest ledge. Like, I'm pretty sure that baby would have been fine if he landed in the sand.
Yeah, and you are right about Bruno. He is the kind of, and let's be honest, a lot of Roald Dahl's books have this. You think of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it has the kid who eats too much and stuff like that. And I actually think Luke and Bruno are absolutely fine child actors. I was a little concerned at the start of the film because Luke, played by Jesus Christ, Jason Fisher, he initially mistakes Gormless for attentive. Like, you have that opening sequence where Helga's telling the story and he's sitting there and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, is this how bad the acting is? He seems to warm into the role, and it's strange actually because he's only in this and Hook, isn't he? I think those are the only two roles he ever.
Parenthood with
I tell you what, that's a pretty good trilogy of movies. Parenthood is really fucking good, and it's strange actually that he's in Hook. So after she's told the story, you have the sequence with the parents, and I'm not sure if I was just specifically trained by Hook or if it's Batman, but as soon as you see two parents dressed to the fucking nines going out the door, you're just like, oh, they're dead. They're 100% fucking dead.
They ain't coming back.
And it is weird that it immediately reminded me of Hook, and that's the other movie I knew him from. I totally forgot he was in Parenthood.
You know what
the
you said as well
thing about that sequence, sorry, very quick, is just that I'm not sure if you noticed. The cops show up, they tell Helga, her daughter's dead and obviously her son-in-law. She's crying on the couch. Luke does not respond. Like, you get no emotional response from Luke. I think Luke might be a fucking serial killer.
I mean, to be fair, but well, that will lead into my next point in a second. But before that, you said Luke was a decent, like he grew into the role. Yeah. I tell you what he is, other than a child actor, he's a better voice performer. When he's only
100%.
When he's only doing the voice of the mouse, and like, he is fucking fantastic. I'll give him this.
And Bruno.
And Bruno's great.
Much better.
I mean, we're not allowed to talk. Don't talk about Bruno. I don't know. I'm trying to do an Encanto joke and I just fucked it up. So I'll move on.
You might be right. See, now I'm confused. All I can think of is we don't talk about Bruno. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Let's just move on.
I will move. So going about Luke, right? Mm-hmm. We've already mentioned now, Luke gets turned into a mouse, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I have to ask, I was thinking about it, for somebody that gets turned into a mouse, other than Bruno, because Bruno finds food straight away, Luke accepts that with the grace of a saint.
Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, so I did a thing. I love to say that I've taken it from you because you Brit every now and then, but I seem to be doing it more lately.
Yeah, this is definitely your thing now, 100%. Yeah. I can feel a list coming on.
I was looking at, I was thinking about the any top contenders in film for the fastest fate acceptance. I'll accept. No, because just to be clear,
you are, before you get to the list, it absolutely stood out upon rewatching it this time. I was just like, he is totally cool about being a mouse, to the extent where I'm just like, I think he likes being a mouse.
Yeah,
like, I'm not sure if he's all that happy about being turned back into a boy, other than the life expectancy thing. He seems stoked. Bruno seems stoked. Bruno's mother freaks the fuck out, but his dad, he's really accepting as well. Everyone's just like, well, I guess they're just mice now. This is absolutely fine.
All right. So, and this list is, again, a bit odd. I'm going with number one, Marlin in Finding Nemo, in no particular order, by the way. Marlin in Finding Nemo. He goes from "I will never let anything happen to you" to "I guess I'm traveling across the ocean with a stranger who can't remember my name" in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, he
Right?
gets over it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I guess he's getting into action. Yeah.
yeah. Sam Wheat in Ghost.
Hmm.
He dies. He realizes he's a ghost, and within minutes, he's like, "Right, time to solve my own murder. Let's move on."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Bilbo Baggins in The Fellowship of the Ring.
Hmm.
I mean, it's the most addictive object in Middle Earth, and with the speed of someone handing back a library book, he has a moment of resistance and shrugs and goes, "Yeah, all right, I'm done. Just take the ring."
Yeah, considering what we see for the rest of the movie and how tricky it is to give up the ring and its power over you and stuff, he does seem to get over it pretty swift, yeah.
Yeah. Sean is Shaun of the Dead. He realizes the zombie apocalypse has begun and just keeps doing his errands. He doesn't accept his fate so much as absorb it into his routine. He's just like, "Yeah, let's just go to the pub."
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
all of those are perfectly good examples. I don't think any of them top Luke and his
No.
love of
Oh,
being a
yeah.
mouse.
No. So last one is Coraline in Coraline. She finds a door to a parallel universe, meets button-eyed parents, goes, "Oh, neat." Her danger to curiosity ratio is wildly Luke adjacent. But I have written it down here. Honestly, Luke is still top tier. Most
Yeah.
characters at least blink before accepting their new reality. Luke gets turned into a mouse and immediately becomes the Mission Impossible protagonist of his own life. He's in the the S tier of fate acceptance. Like he's just,
No,
I'm
he
moving
absolutely
on.
is. And like even when he gets like in the kitchen sequence at the end, when he gets a bit of his tail chopped off, completely brushes that off like it's no fucking big deal. Like he's just like, oh yeah, it was just the end. It's just the end, no big deal. Like
I
fucking
mean,
hell,
and
dude.
straight away he learns how to use his tail as well because he wraps it around
Well, that's one of the great things about this movie,
the
and we've
poison.
alluded to it briefly. Is like the Jim Henson's work and Jim Henson's production studio. Their work on this movie is absolutely essential, and
Yeah, it's
especially
great. Yeah,
if you watch like the Robert Zemeckis, the updated version, which is from 2020. I'm not sure if it's a remake. It's kind of a remake. It's set in the 60s, so you could almost have it as like a prequel, I suppose. American in the 60s. Sorry. I watched 20 minutes of it. I didn't think it was great, so I let it be.
very CGI heavy.
Well, it's a Robert
Yeah,
Zemeckis film, so yes,
yeah.
naturally. And one of the things I honestly think, obviously they can do more with the mice, but the CG mice just took me out of the movie. Whereas in this, that combination of genuinely real mice and puppetry works exceptionally well. And for some reason, they are the cutest mice. Luke makes for like he's a cute enough kid, I suppose. He's a bit of a pleb, but he's a cute fucking mouse. He's
When
a
he's
super cute mouse.
when you're looking into his eyes when he's chatting and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah, he is super cute.
charming
Yeah,
as
yeah,
fuck. I mean, in
yeah.
fairness, I'll give him this. I'm caught like he's a bit of a dweeb, but there is a moment in the conference scene, what do you call it, the conference scene, where he is dressed like proper full on 90s. Like he's got like the
Oh
hoodie
yeah,
on, the
yeah.
stonewashed jeans, the high top Reeboks. I'm like, all right, that is actually pretty cool in fairness. So, he has his moments as Luke the human boy, but as a mouse, like you said, much better voice performer, incredible puppetry, and that doesn't even take into consideration what they did with, I mean, all the witches, but for obvious reasons, in particular, Anjelica
Yeah.
Huston is the Grand High Witch. When she take the first bit, when she's like taking off her skin, you're like, oh, this movie's fucking legit. And then they
I
take
was
literally a face off. You see a nose grow in real
because
time.
I
Like,
wasn't
God damn.
expecting a Pinocchio nose. What does she do? Push that thing in when she puts the mask on?
I guess so. I guess so. But the thing is, I actually think the darker stuff in this film, like, and I know a lot of kids are probably freaked out by, the Grand High Witch and blah, blah, blah. I actually think the darker stuff is right at the start. So I had totally forgotten two things. One, I'd forgotten that the start was set in Norway. Totally
And the
forgotten.
painting?
Well, that was the really dark bit. I also forgot
Yeah.
that Luke was American. I was like, fuck, of course, he's American. I just thought,
Yeah.
if you'd asked me before the film, I'd be like, oh, he's British. No, he's American.
I always thought he was British. I
It
always
wasn't
thought
just
he was
me, at
British.
least.
Yeah.
But the sequence where Helga is telling the story about Erica in the painting is proper The Shining stuff. If anything, it's darker than The Shining. When I talk about The Shining, I'm talking about the final scene of The Shining,
Yeah.
where you see Jack Torrance in the picture.
In the party,
this,
yeah.
Yeah, the fact that she keeps changing in the picture and then getting older and disappearing, I mean, that is like peak Roald Dahl dark
And
fantasy stuff.
I thought we were going to get more of that stuff, by the way, because again, never read the book, so I'm not too sure. Only ever seen this once back in the day. When she said about the painting, and then you get into the hotel and the Grand High Witch is teasing the little girl, and I thought we were going to get either more of that, a kid being put into a painting, or we were going to get the kids being released once the Grand High Witch powers were gone or whatever. I
Well,
just
it's weird, isn't it? Because it can't seem to like because the dark bits, and it's not surprising because part of it is the way it's shot as well. Like it's probably worth mentioning that Nicholas Roeg directed this film, something I didn't know until we were doing the research. This is the guy who directed Don't Look Now and The Man Who Fell to Earth. Don't Look Now, in particular, is an absolute like stone cold horror classic. And it's not just, the performances, the way he shoots it. He shoots like a proper horror movie at times. And I think the movie has that kind of like, we need to rein this in a little bit because this is getting too dark. We can have this quite disturbing sequence, but we can't go too far down this road because it's really disturbing. And it's quite odd because you think about the opening sequence with the score by Stanley Myers, who again is most famous for doing the score for The Deer Hunter, a very different movie. But you kind of got this like fantasy music playing, the kind of camera cutting across the fjords and the snow of Norway, and you think, oh, this is going to be like a Harry Potter film. And then you go straight into Helga rinsing a cigar, by the way, and then telling that really dark story about Erica and the witches. And you're just like, all right, they mean to rein this in before they scar every kid on the planet. Well, I say every kid on the planet, if that many people had gone to see it, I suppose.
Yeah. Do you know, go back to the conference room as well. Do you know her potion that she had?
Oh, what the hell was it called?
86.
Yeah,
Potion
that's
86 or whatever.
Oh, Formula 86.
Formula
86, yes.
What do you say? Well, not you personally, but what is slang for getting rid of somebody?
I don't know.
We 86 them.
Oh,
I'm just wondering. Yeah. I'm just wondering if that was. That can't be.
It might well be. I mean,
or is that just a coincidence?
I suspect it's a coincidence, but I can't say for sure because it's that kind of movie. But
yeah.
I mean, that whole plan is quite bizarre. And, I mentioned the intro, the fact that we keep accidentally doing movies about white supremacists. So there aren't actually white supremacists in this movie, but make no mistake, that whole sequence...
There are skinheads. There's a room full of skinheads.
It's a room full of skinheads, a lot of them are dudes, and it is, and with her, like, German accent, witches of England, your disgrace. It's like, it's very much got that, I think purposefully has that Nazi rally vibe. And what she's talking about, make no mistake, is genocide. I mean, they're not talking about Jews, they're talking about kids instead. But she's talking about killing every child in the United Kingdom. It's like, yeah, that is genocide. Although I don't know how the plan works. So maybe you can explain this to me. One, where is the Grand High Witch getting all this money from? To like, how many sweet shops is she going to have to finance for this plan to work?
I mean, you would need one in every city, every town, every village.
I know there's the suitcase of money, but it's like, well, there's no explanation as to where that money comes from, but it's very strange.
Yeah. There's no explanation to where that money comes from. Then there's no explanation of their powers. Like, it's all formulas, but then Miss Irvine can shoot lasers out of her fingers that can directly hit a mouse from miles and miles away.
Those are, let's be clear, those are benevolent witch powers. That's a very different thing, of course.
Yeah.
No, it's not particularly explained, and I guess that's fine. But the real issue I actually had with it is, so they're planning on turning all these kids into mice, yeah? The big issue with that is all of these fuckers can still talk English. So that is a massive problem. So unless they literally turn them into mice and immediately kill them, which sounds mental, we were saying like there was the issue when we did Stone Cold last week. It's like, why are you putting them in the boxes and then shooting them? This kind of does make sense because if you just kill kids, you have to get rid of the bodies and all that jazz. If they turn into mice, the kids have ostensibly just disappeared and you can just kill a mouse and it's fine. But for the plan to work, they absolutely have to kill every single mouse. Otherwise, those chatty fuckers are going to give them away. And they make it clear. Helga says it as well. Witches never get caught, supposedly. I don't know, man. The witches in this film play it fast and loose as fuck. I'm like, it's like they want to get caught.
As soon as they walk through the hotel, you're like, well, you ain't real. Like that hair ain't real. Yeah.
That's a lot of dudes. It's like,
a lot of dudes.
When Luke escapes, they all go chasing after him. She pushes the pram down the hill. I'm just like, these women are acting like fucking lunatics. I don't know. It feels like the witches would have got caught ages ago.
Who is the true villain of the film?
So you're going to make the argument that's not the Grand High Witch?
No.
I am very interested to hear your answer on this.
It's the hotel manager or / owner.
Like, yeah, it is Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson. I mean, he never helps. He always just escalates problems. Mm-hmm. He's got peak Dahl villain energy. I mean, he's petty, he's rude, he's self-important. I think he causes more chaos than the witches.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. and he's fucking that poor girl.
And he's just trying to get laid until he finds out she has fur on her neck.
She's a weird character. She is
I
like
know.
her only thing. Her
Scream and
character
fucking
trait is
anything.
like she just screams loads and she's horny for Rowan Atkinson for some reason. It's a strange character. But
I wrote down, if the witches don't get you, the customer service definitely will, because he's fucking going for you at some point.
But that was the whole thing, you know. The going back to the whole Basil Fawlty thing for people who haven't seen Fawlty's House. That's the whole like show basically, not the whole show. That's underselling what was, you know, an absolute classic. But he's basically just a dick. So he's playing it exactly the same way. He's like, well, I'm a hotel owner and I'm a bellend. And yes, you probably are right. If it wasn't for the fact that, I don't know, the Grand High Witch does want to kill every child in the United Kingdom. I do want to put that out there as being
how does that
pretty
work?
bad.
So is it just she wants to go across the world at some point and take every child out of the world, right?
Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't, because then humanity will just end.
No, because people, I guess, like the current crop of kids, I suppose, it's all very biblical, isn't it?
But
it's
they
like,
want kids gone. It's not the current crop. She just doesn't want any kid.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I guess maybe it's like the whole vampire thing. They kind of live alongside them, but then there's always like, you know, Deacon Frost, who's like, fuck these guys, let's get rid of all of them. Although my argument earlier about like the only way the plan would even conceivably work is if they immediately kill the mice. That wouldn't happen because when she's on stage, she says, if you take like a drop of this in the chocolate, it
20
doesn't.
minutes.
It's like 20 minutes. So the kid goes home, turns into a mouse, but he's still chatting away like a fucking sailor. Like, it's going to be weird for everyone, but if enough kids turn into fucking mice and start talking to their parents, people are going to be like, something's going on here, and it's pretty fucking weird. Witches might exist.
And this mouse is all right at the moment. He's pretty self-sufficient. He can do anything. He can build fucking cracks. Helga is not helping him build those tracks in the house at the end of that film. He's doing all this shit. He's built lifts. He's built. He's turned an old Ghostbusters tower into his bedroom.
Talk about nostalgia. There's actually two Ghostbusters things, because there's another toy I had earlier in the film, the skeleton. That was from Ghostbusters, and I had that toy. But seeing the Ghostbusters fire station used, like everyone our age had that fucking fire station.
Yeah, I did. Cool. Yeah, he's turning all the Lego, and I have to ask, how long have they been out of the hotel back to the house? Mm-hmm. Because it feels like they need to be enough time to put holes in walls, set up a track throughout the entire house, set up a new bedroom for him, do all of this. But it only feels like it's a day or two.
But you know what the answer is? The answer is money. So the weird thing about Helga is that I have to assume we've got another Home Alone situation here. So the Home Alone situation is the dad, whose name I always forget, is clearly a drug dealer, because how can he afford the house? How can
Peter
McAllister, thank you. How can he afford to send his entire family on holiday to France? Helga, who's this sweet little old lady, has a house in Oslo. The house she has in England is fucking ginormous. Her second home. She's on about just casually traveling over to the US to do what? Fuck knows. She goes to this fancy hotel. She gets driven there by a chauffeur. She has got money to fuck. And I'm like, what the fuck is Helga up to? And you could see the way she's smoking that cigar. She's got a background, Helga. I'll tell you that much.
Has she, though? Because when the money gets sent from the house, the Grand High Witch's money, she's like, oh, now we're rich. Now we can sort shit out.
No, well, yeah, but we have to go on the assumption that is like millions upon millions. That's just fucking, that's just extra butter for the bread.
So you're saying that she's just got somebody in to do the work in a day because she's
because she's just minted. Because I don't know how she's getting the money in, but Helga's up to something. I'm telling you that much, right?
Because I can't see how long it takes Miss Irvine to drive from wherever she's driving to wherever they live to do that as well. Because she's still dressed the same. The only thing missing is her name tag.
That's witch magic, mate. That's witch magic, as far as I can tell.
But, so we've gone off Christmas magic now. We're on witch magic.
Witch magic. This is my answer to everything. It was like we were watching Pluribus with my wife, and because she's a scientist, every time they bring up science, she starts asking questions. I'm like, oh, that's alien magic, babe. That's just don't even worry about that.
I mean, it's an odd TV show, Pluribus. I finished it now, but it's
I did enjoy it. But
I enjoyed it.
Not necessarily what you expect.
I tell you, and it's going off on a tangent. I tell you what, I missed the boat out on. And my wife and I have watched it. And we're fucking loving it. Slow Horses. Fuck me, that's a show.
I've heard it's supposed to be amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Mate, it is good. It is
I need to get
very
on
good.
that because I've still got Apple TV for a little while, so I need to get on that. But
Yeah.
just while it's in my head, because you mentioned the fact that you didn't really read The Witches when you're younger. This was one of the most popular like Roald Dahl books when I was in primary school for sure, and one of the reasons that everybody watched the movie. Do you have like a favorite Roald Dahl adaptation? So it was weird because I was asking one of the kids, and I think a big part of it is one of the kids, one of the guys in my work who was a kid later than we were. So he was like his favorite Roald Dahl adaptation was James and the Giant Peach, and I was like that made like no impact on me, but I think maybe because it was released in '96. But then at the same time, like I'm pretty sure Matilda was around the same time, and I remember that being absolutely massive. And I always forget that Matilda was directed by Danny DeVito, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He stars in it and directs it.
Matilda was a bit
maybe slightly
sooner.
Before. Well, the other ones that stand out. There's the BFG, the Spielberg
Oh no, you're right.
film.
Matilda was 96.
Oh, it was the same year then.
Yeah.
So the BFG, I was never fussed on that, the Spielberg one. There's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Wilder one from 71, and the Depp one from 2005, which has been somewhat reappraised by some people, despite the fact that it's a fucking horrible movie. And the one in terms of like modern-ish adaptations, Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson from 2009, which is an absolutely fantastic film. But for me, because of my attachment to it, this was always the most important Roald Dahl adaptation as far as I was concerned.
So for me, the one I've seen more than any of the others is Danny, the Champion of the World.
Oh, the one just such a hipster. Such a fucking... Of course you'd find that one. Is that really the one you've seen the most?
That's the one I've seen the most. I'm just looking for the list now, and I'm thinking, well, I've seen Matilda. I enjoyed Matilda. I watched that again with my niece when she was growing up. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original 1971. The Gene Wilder one. I've seen that. Some of the most, but that's some of the most.
I know where you're going for. I've seen that movie somewhat, mostly a lot. I don't know. Yeah.
I had that one on VHS, so that was one I watched quite a bit. But the one that sticks to my mind, and the one because my granddad loved it, so I watched it quite a few times with him, was Danny, the Champion of the World, and it was just about a kid stopping his father from poaching pheasants.
Bizarre, but that's the nature of Roald Dahl's work, I suppose. That some of it is a lot more kind of grounded than it is more fantastical work. But it's weird we've not actually mentioned the 2020 version, which I don't think either of us have watched all the way through. And
the 2020 Witches.
Yeah, the Robert Zemeckis one.
Dude, I didn't even know that was a remake until my wife told me.
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, like I say it's a remake. I've only seen 20 minutes of it. And I said I wasn't fussed. It feels structurally very similar, but it's set in the 60s in America. So theoretically, it could be a prequel. I don't know.
I didn't even know. Sorry, so it's an adaptation of the book. It's nothing to do with the film. It's an adaptation, adaptation of the book. But I didn't even know that thing existed until my wife told me. Until she told me that I'm not watching the new one they've done. I went, "What do you mean new one?"
It just passed you by.
Me, yeah. And you look at the names in them. I love Octavia Spencer.
Anne Hathaway.
Stanley Tucci, the Tooch.
Yeah.
It's
got a great cast. Well, one of the reasons, actually, because if you go back and look at it, I mentioned earlier that this movie was a bit of a flop. So this movie actually made 15 million off an 11 million budget. But obviously, in terms of cinematic, costs and all that other nonsense, it's like you actually have to make closer to double of your production budget to make a profit in the cinema. This film would have made money in the long run because it became a big hit on TV, on VHS, and became something of a cult classic. The 2020 Zemeckis version, one of the reasons you probably don't know much about it is because it was released at the worst possible time, basically at the peak of COVID. Yeah. So that version actually made 26.9 off a $100 million budget, which of course is fucking disastrous. But I'm pretty sure HBO pulled it early doors and put it onto HBO Max. So, it didn't get much of a theatrical run for COVID reasons. So I don't think there was ever a huge amount of buzz about it, but COVID certainly kind of did for that film and probably done for any chance of there being another Witches movie. But let's be honest, we don't need another Witches movie. You should realistically, if you want to watch The Witches, ending aside, if you're a purist, like this is the version to watch. Although I've heard some people suggest that the 2020 version is actually closer to the book. And I couldn't tell you because, like I said, I've read the book. I read it like fucking 35 years ago. So God knows.
I mean, if they're saying it's closer to the book, it's basically probably just because he stays a mouse at the end. That's the only thing I can think. If they say he stays closer to the book, it's because the purists out there are like, because
I mean, there could be someone screaming at the podcast now who's like read the book last week. No, 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 this is much closer. We can't remember, so we're not going to make any crazy claims. What I will claim is that I genuinely think Anjelica Huston is borderline worthy of an Oscar nomination in this film. I think she absolutely. I mean, to say she steals the film is an understatement.
Does she go from this to Addams Family?
She must do, yeah, because this is 1990. Addams Family was 91, I think. So she's on a bit of a roll, and she was dating Jack Nicholson at the time. So yeah, she was, which is an interesting one because is Anjelica Huston a beautiful woman? I was talking to my wife about that because obviously, you know, when she's the witch, she's the witch. But when she's the Grand High Witch and she's in all her makeup and stuff, I said to my wife, I was like, is Anjelica Huston hot in this? And we both agreed that she is a handsome woman, which felt like the right way to describe her.
She has a chiseled jawline, let's be fair.
She does, but she also has, and it's one of the great things about this film and the weird tone, is this odd eroticism. Like in the conference sequence, when they bring out Bruno to eat the chocolate, and she's standing on stage, she's doing this like body movement, and obviously it's supposed to kind of suggest disgust. To me, I'm looking at her, I'm going like, she looks like she's horny as fuck in this sequence. It's quite bizarre. It works, like everything she does in this film, but yeah, she doesn't tiptoe around things in this film. She is so winging for the fences.
I have to ask, right, because I grew up basically never staying in hotels. My holidays growing up were going to Porthcawl 2 weeks in a caravan. That was our summer holiday. So I've like hotel stays for me. I didn't actually fly anywhere until like early 2000s, and then I did my leg, and we stayed in a friend's villa then, so I did my leg and we didn't blah 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 yet. So I actually hadn't had hotel stays until like 2010 onwards, right? Is this a typical 90s hotel, or is this because it felt 70s aesthetic to me?
Yeah, but that's old-fashioned hotels, and a lot of them try and maintain that aesthetic. So during COVID, and I was similar to yourself, like we didn't go to many hotels. We went to stay in caravans and stuff like that. Yeah. And I remember growing up and thinking this was like the height of like, oh, this was so fancy, super posh. And it's still, I find them very charming, these old-fashioned hotels. There's a few in Edinburgh where I live, where if you go in, of course, they've kind of done them up, but they've maintained that old-fashioned aesthetic. And when I went during COVID, I went to Cromer in East Anglia. And one of the draws there was that you were staying in this old-fashioned hotel. And of course, they've got all the framed pictures of all like the classic British performers who stayed there. And like the hotel feels old as fuck, but it's maintained really well. So I actually think this is like a perfect example of a traditional British hotel. And I think a lot of them, while the amenities might be updated to a certain extent, would try and maintain that aesthetic because people associate it with old-fashioned kind of affluent British holiday making. So but like you said, like growing up, when I saw this, I didn't even consider the idea of going abroad. I just saw this as like, oh my God, imagine going down to the South Coast and staying in that hotel. It's like, Jesus Christ, Helga's got some bunts, man. She's got some bunts. But yeah, I am an absolute sucker for old-fashioned British seasides, and like when they're kind of maintained to a certain, not like the rundown version. It's like if you go to I was going to say Aberystwyth is actually got a lovely waterfront, but what's the one up on North Wales? Llandudno.
Yeah.
Llandudno's got that like quintessential classic, all white hotels along the water, all very old-fashioned but pretty well kept. And yeah, I absolutely adore those. It'd be nice if the sun came out, but as it proves in this film, that's the issue with British holiday.
I did love it when he kept saying it was sunny outside. He's like, "Fuck, it's sunny for Britain." Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey,
absolutely.
What was I going to say then? There was something I was going to say. Oh, fuck me, I just slipped my mind into talking about sun. All right, move on. Maybe I'll
jump in quickly. I just wanted to mention, and this comes back to the whole idea about witches not getting caught. So there's a sequence when they get back to England and Luke is in his treehouse, and a witch comes up very unsubtly and just starts basically trying to kidnap him.
Yeah.
There are two things I'd never noticed before. There's basically a large paper airplane falls down. She fucking catches it. Like, there's no CG there. She just catches it. She then just turns around, throws it back, and goes right back up into the treehouse. I was like, if I tried to do that 100 times, I'd fucking fail. And the other weird thing she says is, little boys love snakes. I'm like, She said it with such confidence. I was like, do boys love
Yeah.
snakes? I've never heard that before, but she seemed pretty convinced. That was how she tried to get a child down from a tree. No, like I know she did chocolate afterwards, but her first port of call was, "Oh look, a snake." I'm like, "Fuck that bitch."
I love that as well, right? Because he's yelling for grandma and she's not coming.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman says, "Well, she can't hear you." And then grandma just pops out of nowhere and goes, "Luke, time for lunch." And the witch fucks off and makes the snake magically appear again.
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, "Grandma, I saw a witch. I saw a witch. I saw a witch." She says, "I know you did, dear." All right, well, if you fucking know, how about you come out a bit sooner, love?
I know she
Jesus
could have shaken, but that
Christ.
comes back to your point about Helga actually being quietly useless, which
That's
I
what I
hate.
wanted
I
to say.
hate
Sorry,
ragging on
before
Helga. Sorry, go for it.
I want to say because I don't want to lose it again. Yeah, you said you love the aesthetic. What I love is old fashioned. I say old fashioned now. It was 1990 or 1989 when it was filmed. I love old fashioned medicine practice. Oh, she just took a turn for the worst. It's fine. She doesn't need medicine. She doesn't need modern medicine or anything. What she needs is some fresh sea air. That'll
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cure her diabetes. It's like I get told off now if my kid falls over and I say, just rub some dirt in it, you'll be fine.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah,
carry
yeah.
on. Yeah.
Well, though there wasn't that, I don't want to sound like the old man in the room again, but there was that element of like basically the cure for everything when I was younger was just Germany. It was
Yeah.
just like, oh, if you fall
Yeah.
over
Germany.
Germany, got a cough, Germany, or maybe you get Calpol every so often, but it was just like Germany was the answer to fucking everything.
The only
Although
so
actually, I found that growing up that instead of Germany, which was in my house, in my wife's house, it was always Sudocrem. So to this
Sudocrem, yeah.
day, we always have a tub of Sudocrem in the house, and if I have any kind of ailment on my skin, I'm just like, I guess I'll rub Sudocrem on it. I've got nothing scientific to back that up.
No, nothing at all. The other thing, like, so it was the same with us as well. The Sudocrem, Germaline, you rub it on it. It's anesthetic. You'll be fine. But I always remember. I think I've told this story before. I don't know if I told it on the podcast. You're talking about going to the beach. So my dad would take us to the beach, and it'd be like we'd go at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd have a picnic on the beach, and we wouldn't come home till like 9 o'clock at night. You know, he's got us for the not got us for the day. They weren't divorced. We're out for the day.
Yeah.
But we get home. He's had us in the sun all day with no shade. We're red. We're fucking. He says, "Oh, you got sunstroke." I'll get my like. His remedy was a mug of warm salt water, and we had to drink it.
See,
From
that just sounds like it could have been that story could be from the Middle Ages, couldn't it? It's like
yeah,
my argument is always like our youth is so much closer to say the youth of like 1955 than it is to
yeah,
now. It's like it's ludicrous. It's like I'd say our youth are closer to like kids from like the 20s. I know I know like we're technically millennials, but we're actually in a bracket called Zennial. So it's kind
yeah,
of like we grew up with all this pop culture from like Gen X and from the 80s. But obviously everything we were seeing on TV was from the 90s. And we were the last generation to ostensibly get all the way through high school where other than a few, like a handful of dweebs, nobody had a mobile phone and nobody had the internet kind of thing.
yeah,
So we just grew up and it was just that whole like go outside and just play. And you were just, the whole thing was once you were out, you were fucking out. There was just no way to contact you unless they sent out helicopters and fucking police dogs. And that was the thing. It was just like you'd come home and it was just like, oh yeah, nobody had the internet to double check what should I do in this situation. Somebody had just heard from somebody else, This could have been generations old. That was probably like 5 generations of your family ago. Just one person said, "Oh, just put some hot water with some salt on it," and it was just back then. If somebody said something or told you something with enough confidence, not only would you believe them, you would just pass that on as fact for the rest of your life.
No, not some salt. I need you to understand this. 2 tablespoons of salt in
That's a
a
lot.
mug full of hot water, and I had to drink it. Me and my brother,
Drink
from
it.
top, yes, from top to bottom. Where did you think we was pouring it? We had to drink that shit to
I thought he
cure
was like
our sunstroke. No,
pouring it on yours.
no, we had to drink that shit from top, like from all of it, all of the mug. And these were like Sports Direct
Yeah.
mugs before Sports Direct
Mhm.
was a thing. We'd have to drink the whole fucking thing.
That's mental. That is
Yeah.
mental.
We go upstairs and be sick. He's like,
Yeah,
"Well,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
be
That's
sick. It won't cure you." You just, motherfucker, you just made me drink
all I can
salt water.
think is like the equivalent of like, like if you've hurt your knee and the
Yeah.
concept that if somebody stepped on your foot, you forget about your knee because your foot hurts a lot. It's like you've got sunstroke, but you forget about that pretty quick after you drunk a gallon of fucking salty water. And now you're being sick everywhere. It's like, well, you're not worrying about your heat stroke anymore, are you, buddy?
My brother and I wouldn't complain about it. Like, so I'm saying, we just came in. He just saw us in a different light,
Just
saw that
accept
we
it.
were red as fuck, and was like, "No, you got sunstroke. Yeah, drink this." Like, do I have to? Yes, all of it.
Yeah, that is bizarre. And even like
Yeah,
just the idea, like you say, of just going out in the sun all day, no like sun cream or anything like that, just getting burnt. It's like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
yeah.
Shake it off your pussy. So yeah, it was a different time as this movie was. And you for the most part, you can see it on screen. And not only that, you can see it in the culinary options of this movie. So
Oh my
later
God.
on, like so basically the film, the second half, as I said, it kind of becomes Stuart Little, they become mice, they're all very cute. And the whole plan is basically dictated around them putting Formula 86 into the witch's soup, yeah? And then that leads to a sequence with aforementioned Scottish lunatic Bill Patterson, where he
I know.
says, I don't want my cock-a-leaky soup, which I had never heard of before, but supposedly, which is bizarre because I live in Scotland, it's Scotland's national soup. It's leek
Yeah.
and pepper chicken stock. I'd never even heard of it, but he's just saying it like everybody eats cock-a-leaky soup instead of the cress soup. And I was like, fucking cress soup? Is that really a thing? We
Yeah.
looked online. Mary Berry, of course, Mary Berry has a recipe for cress soup
Press.
because
Yeah.
Mary Berry is like 107 years old. Nobody has a modern take on cress soup because
So
nobody eats it anymore.
I knew these two things were a thing. And
Mhm.
again, but like I've never come across a cock-a-leaky soup. I've never had cress soup. I've never
Oh,
had
no,
either of
right,
them.
no, right.
It's like the thing in here. Everyone thinks all Welsh eat cowl instead of soup.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah,
it's Welsh for soup, but
yeah.
like it's a different thing as well. It's more towards a stew than it is a soup.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
like nobody in Wales eats cheese on toast. They're all eating Welsh rarebits
Welsh
instead.
for a bit. And for some reason, we're all eating lava bread. Just
I tell you what, it's actually surprisingly difficult to get a traditional Welsh breakfast
yeah.
of lava bread and cockles and stuff like that. It is actually amazing. It is
Do you
really
know
good.
where I got a traditional Welsh breakfast? Because Cardiff. So Cardiff is the furthest from actual Wales, like Welsh food or anything that you're gonna get. Like
Despite being the capital of Wales, yeah.
that's what I mean, but it's mad, isn't it? But do you know where I actually had a traditional Welsh breakfast?
Where's that?
Marco Pierre White's restaurant.
Where's that? In Cardiff?
Uh, no, outside, just past Bristol.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course, of course. I had mine in Carmarthen, but Carmarthen is very much Wales, so that's absolutely
yeah,
fine. That is mental. Speaking of mental, actually, I thought, we've already mentioned the mice, so that combination of puppets and real mice, and you get these
yeah.
genuinely fantastic performances. People forget there's a great cat performance in this film by Lipschen. She keeps going, which I'm sure is German for like sweetheart or something like that. Usually getting a cat to do anything is really difficult.
Yeah.
Luckily, in this film, all they need the cat to do is be a fucking asshole. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, I can get my cat to be a fucking asshole. I can't get him to behave, but if you need a cat on screen being a dickhead for like 10 minutes, oh yeah, 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 no problem whatsoever. No training required. But still a great performance all the same.
What dictates as well the look of the mouse, the color of the mouse?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh, I
because
see what you mean.
they're two completely different mice, Bruno and Luke.
Well, Bruno
But
seems to
then
be
when the
dictated by
grand,
what he was wearing, and Luke by his hair color, which is a bit odd.
but when the well, no, because Luke was blonde and he was more like
But it was like that kind
gingery
of
mouse.
yeah, but it was kind of like strawberry blondish. It was in the same ballpark. It's not perfect, but
Okay,
this is
so
mouse magic.
what in mouse magic? Oh, so we've gone from witch magic to mouse magic now.
Yes, yeah, yeah, of course.
What turns a grand high witch
Mhm.
right into a hairless mouse?
Yeah, it is quite bizarre, but then the whole end of this film is quite strange. So one of my big issues with the movie isn't the end. I couldn't really give a shit that they had ostensibly both endings from the book. It's the fact that the finale, you don't really get a proper showdown with the Grand High Witch. Instead, the movie descends into like a madcap farce. I'm not sure if it reminded you, similarly reminded you of this, but I was just thinking of Gremlins 2. The
Yeah,
end reminded me of there was all green smoke everywhere. It all just goes absolutely, yeah, sure, it doesn't have the musical number, but the end of this, especially with her, like you said, the aesthetic of the Grand High Witch as a mouse slash rat thing, it just reminded me of Gremlins 2.
yeah.
Unbelievably so.
And the fact that they're all getting just X straight away, like fucking, Mr. Bean comes out with that fucking cleaver and he's just going to town on them all. Health and safety had a field day with them. Like he'd be shut down forever.
Yeah, they would, but that was sorry to get back to my issue with I guess that sequence at the end. Beyond the fact that it's a bit of a madcap farce, is there just isn't any showdown with the
No.
witch. Like nobody kind of like he literally as a mouse he puts the Formula 86 in the soup and they just immediately drink it. Usually you would have like a sequence when, oh, are they going to eat it? Are they not? He's going to do something else. No, he just puts in the soup. They all drink the soup, including the Grand High Witch, and they all just turn into mice and get immediately killed. And that's it. I'm like, again, brings me back to my point about the whole witches never get caught. These witches appear to be fucking useless.
The most threat was in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
like
100%.
just after the chef seasons that returned food in the bin, which I've never know. I say I've never noticed. I only watched it once. I said to my wife, I said, "Did he just put that in the bin?" She said, "Yeah, he wiped it on the bin and just sent it back up to the customer." I'm like, "This is why I never return food." Like, ever.
Never return food. Never return food.
No,
I complain after I've eaten. That's when I complain.
It is like I say, something because I used to work at McDonald's a long time ago. I'm not going to say which one. But I say, if you ever went to my McDonald's between 1999 and 2005, you definitely ate off the floor. I'm just saying.
I guess it's trickier now, isn't it? Because with McDonald's, you can ostensibly see it all, if you see what I mean. Like when you go in, it never used to be like that back in the day. Oh, no, it's been
you
blocked
can't
up
see
now,
the
isn't
kitchen.
it?
You used to be able to see the kitchen.
Yeah, sorry.
But now you can't. It's all hidden.
I tell you what, I know you just said that, but I could still absolutely murder McDonald's right now. I fucking love McDonald's. I think the important thing with the McDonald's, and I think this is true of any fast food, is just don't have it too often. Like to me, it still feels like a treat in the same way. I know this might sound weird to you, but Greg's always feels like a treat to me. So I would never go there at like lunch on a work day because I'm like, I feel like in the same way I wouldn't go to McDonald's. So I will go to Greg's once in a blue moon. But when I do, I go all out. So I'll get like a sandwich, I'll get one of the sausage rolls, I'll get like a cake, I'll get the fucking full works.
I mean,
and it genuinely feels like a treat to me.
You can't go to Greg's and buy a baguette and not have a pastry-based product.
You cannot. No. If someone did that, I'm like, it's like going to McDonald's and being like, just getting a Big Mac dry. Just not getting a Big Mac meal. I knew one guy who was a bit of a head case, went into McDonald's and just got a Big Mac. I was like, I don't think that's ever happened before. I don't think that's ever fucking happened. That is insane.
I haven't been to McDonald's for a while, but when you do, like, I've never known somebody to just order a meal without like a cheeseburger starter or something.
Well, I will always have something. If I'm getting a Big Mac meal, I'm either getting like my wife's into chicken McNuggets, which I never used to be into, but I can see the appeal of like because you can eat them cold like the next day. So we'll get like a big box of 20. But historically, my meal of choice was always a large Big Mac meal and a double cheeseburger, like chaser or starter.
Yeah.
No, I'd start actually. I think you are right. I'd start with the double cheeseburger, make my way up to the Big Mac. This is sorry, and we will get back to the movie in a minute. You used to work there. When you worked there, did they used to have the Mega Max and there's another one, an Ultimate Big Mac? Because one of them is perfect and the other one is a shocker. So
we did. I kind of remember. I think we did make a Mega Mac once. The one I remember, it was something called the Hat Trick.
Okay,
and it was like 3 levels of.
See, that's even worse. See, right, there's 2 different like special edition Big Macs nowadays. There's one which is more like a Whopper. It's just wider and it's delicious because it's a Big Mac, but it's just more of it. Whereas when they start stacking them higher, we'll just say it's a Mega Mac. The burger to bun ratio and sauce is all fucked up. So it's just not like it seems like a good idea, but you're just adding more burgers, but not more bread. So you're just fucking with the quotient as far as I'm concerned.
When I worked there,
it's clearly a bit of a purist when it comes to McDonald's.
When I worked there, it was the start of the Big Tasty, like it first came in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Big Tasty, so it was like 20 odd years ago. Longer now. Like I said, I started in '99, so Jesus Christ. And I found out the other week that it just come back. So it's like, oh, I haven't had McDonald's in a while. I'll have to have a Tasty. And I know Tasties have come and gone throughout the years. They always come like every year, but I haven't had one in ages. Like, I would like a Tasty. And then I found out, no, they've shrunk it, but so they don't use the meat that they used to. They just use quarter pounders now, but they still charge probably £4 more than what it was before.
Yeah, they're charging those Burger King prices. Absolute shocker. But anyway, we should move on to the end of the film. So, as I said, like the end of the film is fine. The sequence in the kitchen is probably actually the big set. Yeah. I mean, the big set piece is actually the conference room, which happens in the middle of the film. And I think the issue is that the film kind of peaks there because Anjelica Huston is so electric in that sequence that the rest of it, like the mouse stuff is all perfectly fine. I actually find it quite funny that everybody thinks like the chef overreacts when one of the mice runs up his trouser leg. I'm like, I think I'd be pretty fucking freaked out if a mouse ran up my trouser leg. I think any normal human being would. But it's just a shame that it kind of like visually it's quite a fun ending, but it just kind of happens as far as I'm concerned. So it was just a bit of a shame that I thought that the film like hit its peak like maybe an hour in.
Yeah. The only thing I kind of need to mention as well is we
Mhm.
briefly touched upon it, which is the effects work.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Proper body horror in a family film. I think that's what
100%.
pushes my score up for more. Because again, I didn't rave about this film. I didn't overly love this film, so my score's not. I
But I
don't think
get
it's going
it.
to be
You
as high
don't
as
like
you.
it's
I
it's
don't
it's
have that.
tricky though because if you don't have that like attachment to it, it's always trickier with kids movies. And like
Yeah,
despite I know what you're going to say now, it's kind of quite scary and you see why it have an impact on kids. But coming to kids films, no matter how good they are as an adult, is always trickier. It just
yeah.
is.
So obviously you've got the Grand High Witch when she
Mhm.
becomes the grotesque. Like the rest of the witches, bless them, they're just bald with little bits of hair sticking out, and then
Scabs and fucked up feet and hands. Yeah.
and they kind of become a bunch of dudes. Like
Mhm.
bless them, they take their wigs off and they just become men.
There's
Uh,
just so many dudes. So honestly, if you haven't watched this film in a while and you listen to this podcast, it's worth revisiting. Or if you can just watch that sequence online quite easily. Like there's loads of like an 8 minute clip, and it's basically the conference, room sequence. And you look through the crowd, you realize like a good, I would say 40% of the crowd is
I
guys.
think more. I think more.
It might be high. And
Yeah,
suppose I always thought it was like, oh, they wanted to show like, oh, these ugly women, and they'll make them look ugly by having dudes in there. They just run out of extras. They just like, oh, we just got to get bald dudes in.
yeah.
That's the end of it, and just hope nobody notices. Well, in HD, you totally fucking notice.
So you've got her, and like body horror is fantastic with her. But then when Bruno changes, and it's in that transitional stage
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
he's
yeah.
still the boy, but then he's got the mouse features.
Mhm.
That looks fucking amazing.
It
That
does look
looks
great. Yeah,
even for 1990. Because again, for me, and we've said it enough times, practical effects for me still are king.
yeah.
I still think
100%.
pushing CG isn't the way all the time. Practical effects are king.
It has to be. The thing is, right? I'm all for CG, but the problem is, unless they are absolutely on point. I know we talked about this before, and it's not your favorite movie and stuff like that. But I watch a movie like Avatar, which I see as like the peak of CG. Like the whole film is CG, but I buy the characters, I buy the world. Whereas I watched 20 minutes of Robert Zemeckis's The Witches, and it's just a few mice, but I just don't buy them. I just don't buy them as real things. Whereas
Yeah,
in this, because you can feel that practicality, it's just unless we are talking top tier, like if we go to Marvel, Thanos, you just bought him. You just bought
yeah,
him as a character. And he
yeah,
was all CG, totally bought it. But if that character is just slightly off, you think of the original cut of Justice League, Steppenwolf,
yeah.
it just didn't look right. And I just don't buy him as a fucking character. And those CG mice just don't hold up. Whereas this movie's 30, nearly 36 years old now, and the mice just still look great.
Yeah, I agreed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so that's been, I guess, the movie. Do we need to move on to Rob's take, in which Rob picks out something innocuous that most folk wouldn't have noticed, but inexplicably drives him crazy? I mean, beyond
Yeah.
the too many dudes in the conference scene, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an obvious Rob take. So,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, yeah. No, for me, it's the hotel manager's boundary issues that got me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, the woman he's fucking said there's a mouse. He sees a little boy, he puts two and two together, doesn't knock his guest's door,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
barges through. It's not like he's chasing the boy, but the boy's
Hmm.
gone into a hotel room. He knows the boy is with an adult.
Hmm.
You don't go in and confront this kid without
No.
speaking to the adult first. You knock the door. He enters the room like he's speed running a burglary. There's no knock, there's no pause, there's no housekeeping. He's just full tilt intrusion. It's like he believes privacy is a myth invented by weak guests. He just doesn't care. And
No,
that
and
really
the
pissed me off.
only defense I give him, and this is just about us being old again, is that when you were younger, if an adult, especially an adult in a position of power, i.e., a teacher or a hotel manager,
Yeah.
basically gave you a clip round the ear, and you went back to your parents and went, "Oh, the manager just hit me round the head," their immediate response would nearly always be, "Well, what did you do? What did you do to elicit such a response?" Now, of course, it's unthinkable for them to lay their hands on you or to come in and give you a dressing down. Back then, dare I say, a little bit more
My
acceptable. But no,
my
still, he's pushing the
yeah,
boundaries for sure.
my DT teacher when I was in high school, I
Mhm.
mouthed off to him. All of a sudden, I'm pinned up, feet off the floor against the wall, being yelled at, spit in face.
Yeah, they used to just be able to put their hands on us. It was just
Yeah.
bizarre. Anyway, if I was going to pick a Rob take, it would be the fact that the mice can talk and the witch's plan just doesn't make any sense. But hey,
But yeah, they just become. It's weird, isn't it? Because you would have thought at Mice Magic that they could then talk to his mice,
yeah.
but they
Yeah,
can't.
they just speak
Yeah.
English. Like I said, if they could just speak to mice, and what you were hearing was them, like if a human just heard them going squeak, 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 but they could talk to each other, talk to other mice,
Yeah.
fine. The witch's plan potentially works. The fact that they can just speak fucking English, it doesn't make sense at all.
No.
You just got like a bunch of kids who have clearly been turned to mice. Anyway, favorite scene for me, I mean, there's no competition whatsoever. I mean, I do like the whole like telling Erica's story and the painting. I do think that's genuinely creepy.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
the
the
meltdown,
conference.
isn't it?
It's the conference sequence with Anjelica Huston. It's the transformation. It's the bitches of England. She is absolutely going for it. And when I think of this movie to this day, I still just think of that sequence in particular. And yeah, easily the best in the film.
I mean, pretty much the same. I bullet pointed some stuff like Jim Henson's latex doing the Lord's work. Room full of witches
Amen.
cheering like they're at a satanic TED talk. It's the perfect blend of horror and comedy. Houston giving CEO of evil energy.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Like why anyone in that crowd ever pipes up. It's like, dude, you're just going to get killed by the Grand High Witch. Just keep your mouth shut. Oscar season in which we hand out 3 Oscars and 3 Razzies in categories of our choosing. So firstly, the Oscar for Best Performance in a Leading Role goes to Anjelica Huston as the Grand High Witch. I know it's not very imaginative, but it's worth mentioning again just how goddamn good she is in this film. If you haven't seen it in a while, this film isn't without fault, make no mistake, but it is absolutely worth watching for Anjelica Huston alone. And this film's like 89 minutes, so it's a super... Honestly, we haven't really mentioned that. It does have faults. It does feel a bit old-fashioned at times in a somewhat charming way, but this moves at a clip. Like, honestly, I remember pausing and being like, fuck, man, there's only like 20 minutes left. The movie absolutely flies by.
Yeah.
The Oscar for child actors who are much better as mice go to Jason Fisher and Charlie Potter as Luke and Bruno. Perfectly fine child actors, but utterly charming as mice. It's so bizarre, right? Absolutely transformative, both literally and figuratively. And the Oscar for Best Prosthetic and Creature Design goes to Jim Henson and his workshop. This was indeed his last film, and despite the fact that it wasn't a big hit in the cinema, this feels like a fitting end, kind of to his career, as it were, because the work absolutely stands up. Whatever you might think of the rest of the film, the prosthetics, the creature design, all that stuff is absolutely an elite and is as good in 2026 as it was in 1990.
Right. So number 1 for me, best villain having the time of her life, Anjelica Huston. She's not just acting, she's feasting. I mean, every line is delivered like she's hosting a gothic drag brunch. She's enjoying herself for this.
Oddly, the complete opposite of Morticia. Morticia is like all sultry, quiet, just limited movement. This is the complete other end of the spectrum.
And I bet it felt like a breath of fresh air to go from one to t'other as well.
It certainly shows range, doesn't it?
Yeah. Number 2, best prosthetics that permanently scarred a generation. Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Like the transformation sequence is outrageous, we already said. It's grotesque, expressive, and unforgettable. Fantastic with that one. And number 3, the best boy who accepts being a mouse weirdly quickly goes to Luke. Zero panic, immediate problem solving mode. I'm a mouse now, fine, let's take down a coven.
Like even at the end, like I said, I know he does get transformed, but you do legitimately get both endings. You do get that sequence where he's like, how long do mice live? That's fine, hopefully we'll have enough time to get on with things. It's like he's basically being told you've got a couple of years left to live, and he's totally fucking chill about it. Luke takes it on the chin. The Razzie for least suitable name goes to not wide receiver of the Denver Broncos, Bruno Jenkins. For the, I mean, it's just such a weird name. The Razzie for most apparently pleasant character who is clearly into some dodgy shit goes to Helga Eversham and her apparently untold wealth. And number 3, the Razzie for least conspicuous witches goes to the 30 dudes in the conference hall. They don't even try and hide the fact that they're dudes. There are just so many guys in that room. It's bizarre. Honestly, it feels like we're going on about it. Going back and rewatching it, it was genuinely shocking.
It takes you right out of the film.
Like you said, I was like, there's got to be like 30-40% of them are dudes. When you said it might be more, I was like, it might be more. It might be more.
So the Razzie for worst hotel staff awareness goes to everybody working there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like hundreds of women lock themselves in a ballroom, fine. They're screaming, cackling, wigs flying, fine. The staff response is just shrug and move on. The hotel runs on pure denial.
They all storm when Luke runs out. They all storm out the room after him. There is a
Yeah,
child running through the hotel, being hotly pursued by what? 50 women and 30 dudes in drag. They chase him all the way down to the beach, and everyone's just like, "This is fine. This is
yeah.
absolutely fine. No problem."
The Razzie for least helpful grandmother goes to Helga.
Yeah,
She knows
I don't.
everything
I
about.
don't want to shut her because she reminds me of my grandmother so much. It's like almost weird for me, but she's just not very useful in this film.
That's it. She shares information only after it would have been useful. That's what I wrote
Yeah,
down. Yeah.
he really does. That's such a shame.
And the Razzie for scones with the least amount of currants in them because somebody's eaten them all goes
I
to the
mean,
hotel staff kitchen.
it's so weird that he just like, I get it, he's into food, no problem. The fact that he like nibbles the edges, are they doing it just so they can have that line later when Rowan Atkinson comes in and he's like, "Oh, we're pretty sure you have mice. All the kind of scones have been
Yeah.
nibbled around the side." Is it just to make that work? Because
don't know.
otherwise, it's an insane way to eat. It's kind of like people who eat like Mars bars, like vertically instead of horizontally and stuff like that. Oh, dude, he's just.
I'm holding my hand
For
up.
the record, he is holding his hand up, and it is absolutely unforgivable.
You take the caramel off first, and then you eat the nougat.
See, remember I was talking earlier about Luke's lack of response to his parents dying, how that makes him a serial killer? It's the same thing, only you eating chocolate. So yeah, let's move on.
What really winds my wife up, if I'm in a wind-up mood, I won't just do that. I'll take the caramel off first, then I'll nibble around the nougat, all the chocolate, so I just have a bar of nougat left.
If this is the last time you ever see a Here You Goes podcast on your podcast platform of choice, this is the reason. I just want to make that clear.
Also, eat a Kit Kat vertically. Don't break the fingers.
That is even worse. That is absolute insanity. Anyway. Honestly, tears in my eyes. I'm genuinely upset.
I think that was all three for me.
Cool. Any alternative titles? I suspect not.
Wow, I don't know. You always suspect not, and then we just get some random ones.
Well, there might be. I guess if the book's called something else in another country, but we'll find out soon enough.
Argentina, The Curse of the Witches.
Here we go.
Brazil, Witches Convention.
That's actually pretty apt.
Yeah.
This film really
Finland.
is about a witches' convention at its core.
Finland, Who is Afraid of Witches?
No,
Germany, Witches.
should not be the sequel.
Iceland, The Wizard Witch.
No.
Okay. Japan, Defeat Jim Henson's Witches / Arch Witches.
I hope that's true. Even if it is some kind of bizarre literal translation, I hope that's true.
I don't know if I've already said The Curse of the Witches, but Spain, Curse of the Witches. That's it, really, mates. Yeah.
That was more than I was expecting.
Vietnam, Wizarding World.
So Harry Potter spin-off.
Yeah,
basically.
apparently, yeah.
Fair enough. Although, if you told me, because of the fact that it feels so British, if you tried to convince me that this was like a Harry Potter spin-off, I think I could believe you.
Yeah.
You could totally belong in the same world. Any facts for this one?
So Licky Dahl has stated that Roald Dahl never again requested someone for a role in his book after the producers of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory denied his request to cast Spike Milligan as the title character. But he was ecstatic when Anjelica Huston was cast as the Grand High Witch, as she had been Dahl's personal favorite for the role.
Wise choice.
Yeah. In the book, the boy doesn't have a name. In the film, he is called Luke.
Oh, I can't remember that.
It took Anjelica Huston 8 hours of makeup time to transform into the Grand High Witch. That previous one about the name, that makes sense because as I was looking up the 2021, he is just called Hero.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So he doesn't have a name. Anjelica Huston has gone on record saying that Miss Ernst, the Grand High Witch, is her favorite role of her own, and that she regularly dresses up as the character on Halloween.
That is awesome. It'd be too on the nose to be Morticia Adams. It'd be so cool if she goes as the Grand High Witch. And yeah, it's such a great look.
In the UK, 2 scenes were edited and cut so the film could get PG rating. The beginning of the shot of the skin of the main witch's face getting removed, and the last shot of Bruno transforming into a mouse.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those. They must have been on like the VHS or the DVD or whatever.
In the book, Grandma is a retired witch hunter that lost her thumb in an encounter with a witch. In the film, Grandma tells Luke that she searched the world for the Grand High Witch, and unlike the book, Grandma lost her Grandma lost her left little finger, not her left thumb.
Yeah, fair enough.
Miss Irvine was not in the book. She was created for the film.
See, again, I think it's just to get the happy ending in.
Yeah. The Louis Vuitton trunk that the Grand High Witch uses to store her money is itself worth almost 45,000 US dollars.
Yeah, we said that when we were watching. My wife and I were watching the film. We're just like, look at that Louis Vuitton fucking suitcase, a trunk, whatever you want to call it. It's like that is money. You get like a few grand just selling that. Sorry, did you say exactly how much it was worth?
Well, they say worth almost 45,000.
40. Jesus Christ! I didn't think it was going to be worth that much.
Yeah. The German title is Hexen, which we just read as witches.
Yeah, that's.
But apparently, it literally means witches practice witchcraft. So how can Hexen be witches practice witchcraft? I'm not. I call shenanigans.
Yeah, but then you got to think sometimes it's like if you read like a title and it was like bats. It could be a movie about bats and bats. If you know, yeah. Sorry, that's hard to describe without going into further detail, but you know what I mean.
Cher was considered for the role of the Grand High Witch before Anjelica Huston was cast.
That's not a bad shout. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm glad it was Anjelica Huston. I can't see it as anyone else. If I were to see it as someone else, 1990 Cher, like coming off the back of the Witches of Eastwick, I'm like, yeah, I can totally see it.
When the boys are transformed into mice, the mice are played by rats and puppets. Well, we knew the puppets, but the actual rats when they're running around.
Oh, there we go.
In the book, the soup at the center of the plan to stop the witches is green pea soup. In the film, it's cress soup.
Why would they change it to cress? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No.
Like, I'm sure cress soup is just fine. It's just so old-fashioned.
The poster in the film is called Formula 86. The term to 86 was generally used to mean getting rid of someone or something.
Oh, there you go. This is news to me, so.
Many of the film's music cues heavily resemble The Shining, another movie that takes place largely at a hotel.
Yeah, well, like you said, it felt like a nod to it directly with like the stuff in the paintings. I'm not sure if that's directly from the books, as I can't really remember, but there were definitely vibes. And as I said, the way it's shot and with the score and everything, yeah, totally has horror vibes. They were not, and this was like the thing back in like the 80s and early 90s. They did not worry about scaring the fucking pants off kids. Like this was pretty standard fare.
Right. So last one for me then. When Miss Irving is seen eating alone in the hotel room, she is seen saying, "I didn't want to be one of them anyway." This hints that Miss Irving was a good witch and that she may have been forced to serve the Grand High Witch, not by choice. And Miss Irving uses her powers to change Luke back to normal is her atonement for the part she played in the Grand High Witch's evil act she committed upon the children, and she decides to be a good witch again. I think you're grasping at straws at that. You're taking a lot from her saying one line.
Yeah, well, like you said, like I just don't think they wanted to spend too much time on it. She's clearly just there to kind of force in the kind of happier ending, and because she doesn't actually do much else in the film at all. And they've obviously delivered that line to kind of justify her actions at the end. It's not only, I don't think people are reading into it too much. I think that's exactly what it is, but there's not much to grasp onto. Which I don't mind. The film is like, I prefer this film to be 89 minutes. I don't need this film to even be, an hour 45. It's like, even if like you have to make some kind of logic jumps to make it all work, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. 87 minutes.
We'll do one more because we'll play tenuous links, right? Yeah, we're not playing now. I'll just tell you the tenuous links. The toy playset, which is destroyed when Luke changes back into a boy, is the firehouse from the real Ghostbusters. Anjelica Huston, who played the Grand High Witch, later starred opposite Bill Murray in The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Bill Murray had played Peter Venkman in Ghostbusters.
Well, there's a thing, and do you know that's probably worth mentioning. Actually, it's like when we were growing up, we all had Ghostbusters toys, but we never actually had Ghostbusters toys.
No, we had the real
Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
it was
always
cartoon. Based. Yeah. You couldn't buy anything based on the actual movie. It was all based on the cartoon. Everything was. You couldn't buy figures of, the Egon Spengler from the movie.
Yeah.
It just didn't exist. It was the weird ass looking Egon Spengler from the cartoon. I say that he probably looked the closest to Harold Ramis. It was like Ray looked quite bizarre. I always thought the animated version. It was kind of, you can tell what they were going for, but he looked like a different character to me.
Egon looked like Egon.
Yeah. He just had that kind of curly hair thing going on. But anyway, Hugs the Future. So it's where we ask the question: remake, sequel, let it die, leave well alone. I think the easy answer is just leave well alone. As I said, this film is slightly old-fashioned. It's quaint, but the special effects hold up, and it's utterly charming. Like I said, not with that fault. Like even my wife, like she loved it growing up. She was just like, yeah, it's good, but it does feel a little bit kind of, simplistic. And come back to that word quaint. Don't necessarily mean it in a bad way, but the kind of movie almost just washes over you, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've obviously tried to remake it, the Zemeckis version. It didn't get great reviews. Obviously, it didn't do great at the box office. Leave it alone.
Pretty much the same. Leave Well Alone. I didn't even know a sequel, not a sequel. I didn't even know a remake or another version of the book was out there. Not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
clue. Never read the book. No attachment to it. So I mean, this film is where it is. I wouldn't say let it die. Just leave it well alone. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a nostalgia for a generation that aren't me. I mean, it said my wife absolutely loved it. So
Yeah, well, it's like
yeah,
you say, it's not the generational thing because you're in the right generation for it. You're like the perfect age. But if you did, there are loads of films which came out which were around our generation, which I just didn't watch. So you just don't have that kind of attachment, that nostalgia for. This one, it was just one of those films that everyone I knew watched. But that doesn't mean every kid watched it. Just the ones around by me. In terms of making a change, if you could only make one change to make this better, I would say I would change the slightly underwhelming death of the Grand High Witch at the end. I just thought the build up to it was kind of cool, but then they just all eat the soup, and that's the kind of end of the film. It's kind of cool that she gets cleaved in twain by Rowan Atkinson, but I was expecting more of a showdown, put it that way, but it just never materializes.
so I've kind of bullet pointed mine, but making a change, I would say fix the ending. Go back to the book's bleak ending where Luke stays a mouse. I mean, the film's cheerful, don't worry, magic fixed it ending it doesn't work.
Mhm.
You want a darker ending that was sharp in the themes, and there's more fairy tale tragedy, less studio mandated comfort. And
Mhm.
what I put here, let kids be traumatized. It builds character.
It certainly does. It certainly does. And let's be clear, Luke was totally fine with it. We say dark, it's the
Yeah.
same as the book. It's dark when you stop and think about it, but Luke is totally fine with it. He's not like upset about being a mouse. He's like, yeah, being a mouse is absolutely fine. In terms of video games, I'm surprised there wasn't a video game based on 1990s The Witches. If I was going to remake one today, I would go with Double Dagger Studios' Little Kitty Big City. That it is quite a quaint
Fucking, that's a
thing.
mouthful.
It is such a charming game. It's one of those perfect, like 6 odd hours. And in the game, you're basically just playing a little black cat and you're going around what looks like a kind of small corner of Tokyo, ostensibly. And you're just doing cool little kind of side missions. Basically, it's that, only you're a mouse and you're in the hotel instead and there are witches knocking around. But I would love that same tone. Maybe a bit more horror in the way of the witches, but gameplay wise, I think that'd be absolutely bang on.
Okay, so I've never played that game, never even heard of it. So I've
It's
gone.
for anyone wondering, it sounds totally twee, little kitty, big C. I totally get that. It's utterly charming and incredibly playable.
For me, I would have gone with a version of Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one.
I mean, both would be spooky but playful. You've got monsters with big personalities. You've got childlike bravery versus supernatural nonsense.
Mhm.
The hotel's full of secrets, weird rooms, oblivious staff. Whimsy plus dread equals a perfect tonal match. Luke would basically be Luigi if Luigi was 2 inches tall and constantly in danger.
I almost like the idea of that exact same game, only it's Rowan Atkinson and just doesn't really get what's going on. So he's just kind of
Yeah.
trying to solve issues in the hotel and not really getting the fact that it's filled with like witches and magic and all kinds of
Yeah.
nonsense. But yeah, you win this week without question. But seriously, Little Kitty Big C, great game. That leads into IMDb. So this is where we pick 1 star and 10-star review for the movie. Before we do that, I try and guess how many written reviews there were. There's got to be quite a few, man, but I don't know how popular it was in America. 282.
Oh, dude, 226.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, 200. Yeah.
I think a lot of like a high percentage will be 10-star reviews for this one, or relatively high. I'm going to go with 47.
81.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I was going to go higher, but I was like, dude, like maybe people aren't as enamored with this as I was. That is a high percentage in fairness.
Right, I don't know if this is more a review or a summary. So the 10 out of 10, titled The Witches 1990. It is a fantasy movie full of comedy. The plot unfolds with a group of witches who have a meeting in a hotel about high-class ladies, but in reality, it was a screen for their witchcraft meeting, while a boy who came with his grandmother to that hotel discovers the real reason for the meeting. In reality, is really good movie and is worth watching to have a good time and maybe learn something. I mean, they didn't watch this film at all because it wasn't a high-class ladies meeting. It was a
It,
meeting for children.
not only instead of that being a review as a synopsis, it wasn't just a synopsis, it was quite a bad synopsis. And what
Yeah,
exactly are you learning when you watch this film?
don't know
That yeah,
how to
it's
turn kids
amazing
into
how
mice.
many 10-star and 1-star and 1-star reviews are absolutely insane. Maybe we'll get another insane one-star review. I
Yeah.
can't imagine there's that many of them. Surely, no, like very few people hate this film. I'm gonna go with like 12,
We have
7.
81. Oh no, 81 was the
Oh,
10 star. Five.
oh,
Five
5,
one stars.
5. Yeah, I said
So
12, and I was like, no, it feels like less, but yeah, 5 is even.
the highest percentage is seven.
Yeah,
Seven
okay.
stars is so yeah. So that's the highest percentage
Hmm.
that we get.
That
Right.
feels
So
about right to me. Yeah. Oh, in terms of
title.
like most people gave it 7 stars. Yeah, yeah, gotcha.
Right. I don't think the person who watched this. When was this written? 2008. Okay. I don't think the person who watched this kind of got it. Don't bother. It's not funny and it is disturbing.
I mean, it is more disturbing than funny. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you just went in with certain expectations, it's not going to work for you, is it?
I started watching this film because someone said it was like Harry Potter, except that the
Oh,
boy wears glasses. It is not anything like Harry Potter. The characters in this film are what I call smarmy. It has the feel of Cruella de Vil crossed with Alien. Too much melodrama at the beginning leaves you wishing there was a point to all this. Then the convention scene, which is shocking, disturbing, and gross, leaves you wishing you had never started watching this film.
mhm.
My 7-year-old grandson said this is boring, but I have a feeling that that was his way of saying he didn't like it. I watched the rest later. Big name stars cannot make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, and this film is definitely a sow's ear. It might appeal to young teens, but it is totally lacking enough comedy or plot to overcome its flaws. Like, watch this film
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's Harry Potter. That's yeah, you got the
Yeah, I
wrong end of
guess
the
maybe
stick
if
there.
somebody kind of goes in, you have like a certain expectation. You're watching with kids, and you're just like, fucking hell, it suddenly feels like I'm watching a horror film.
Also,
Sorry, go for it.
so I started watching this film because someone said it was like Harry Potter, except that the boy wears glasses. Correct me if I'm wrong. Potter wears glasses?
Of course he does. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think they've seen
Okay.
Harry Potter as well. Like we said, 1 star and 10 star reviews are often written by fucking lunatics. Luckily, you're not going to get that from either of us by the sounds of things, which leads us to our own scores and recommendations. Um, it's a weird one, this, because I would have assumed I was going to give this 4 stars. I was kind of like completely zoned. I was just like, yeah, this is going to be like a 4 star film. I actually think watching this in 2026, it's a 3 star movie, but it's a really easy recommend. Basically, it's a 3 star movie with a 5 star performance at its core. Like, make no mistake, Anjelica Huston absolutely makes it. But when she's not on screen, it does suffer a bit. It's a 3 star film, but it's a really positive 3 star. Does that make sense? You know,
Yeah.
it's like I don't have any obvious issues with it. I still thoroughly enjoyed it, despite the fact, we mentioned it, it's quite quaint by today's standards. The effects are still great. Anjelica Huston's amazing. But when I watched it, I was just like, it just kind of washed over me. I'm like, yeah, 3 stars. I quite enjoyed it. I don't plan on going back to it again anytime soon. It was all like pleasingly nostalgic. But yeah, 3 and a yes from me.
So like last week, it's a 2.5 for me. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much Angelica Houston saves it, like you said. When Luke and Bruno become the mice, it becomes more entertaining. I think I've already said that they're better voice actors than they are child actors.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. It's not one I'll rush back to or
I
think
get it.
about. So
It's weird for me because I think if when I was watching it, if you'd asked me to give the review at like the halfway point, I would have been like, "This is a 4 star film." I
yeah,
just thought the end just kind of happens. I don't think I got any kind of great sense of closure. It's just like, okay, the end is fine. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest problem with this film is that it peaks too early, ostensibly. But yeah, like I said, still easy to recommend, totally watchable, but 3 stars.
yep, agreed.
Cool, cool, cool.
Oh, sorry. Did I say recommend? Do you know, I 2.5, but yeah, I would recommend it. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
decent. I want to say it's a decent adaptation. I would assume it's a decent. I haven't read the book, so aside from the ending,
It
but
is, yeah.
I mean, if you want it, it's fun for kids to watch, and I mean, it'll remind you of Harry Potter apparently. So go for it.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, I like that's why I'd be surprised if, like I said earlier, like there's always a few psychopaths, but I was like, the idea of giving this like 1 stars just seems insane because it's just got too many charming performances and it's well directed by Nicholas Rowe. It's got a good score. Like all the things kind of tick, but I get it. It's like, and ultimately all it's come down to is half a mark. It's just the difference between you saying 2.5 and me saying 3. I could have easily pushed it to 3.5, but I'm in that kind of same ballpark. It's simply nostalgia and having that attachment to it. But yeah, still a good movie for the most part. So yeah, that's been 1990s The Witches. What is your choice next week? And please ensure that there is just nearly a hint of white supremacy, please.
I was about to say that I believe there is no white supremacy in this, but then I looked at the cast list and they are mainly Caucasian. But we
Okay,
do
that's
have
fine.
Giancarlo Esposito as one of the cast. So
Okay, okay.
okay.
Giancarlo
Uh,
Esposito.
yeah. So and again, you can. So I don't know. I didn't really hear all of your like I wasn't paying attention. Your
That's fine.
intro earlier on, where you said, "I didn't know we were doing a season. We're not doing a season. This is like an
No,
unofficial
no,
season because
no.
we keep
It
picking
was
1990." Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the unofficial season was like we just noticed that we kept picking early 90s kind of cult movies, but then we also realized that by pure accident we kept picking movies with links to white supremacy, which is just quite bizarre. So yeah, it's not a season, it's all accidental, I can assure you. So yeah.
1995.
Oh, so we're still in the early 90s, fair enough. Not
Yeah.
later, but still in that same ballpark.
Director Brian Singer.
95 Brian Singer.
Yeah.
Fuck, I feel like not Rush Hour that no. No, Brian Singer didn't direct Rush Hour. Am I talking about? That was the guy who did X-Men 3 directed.
Yeah.
God, what's his name? It doesn't matter. I should be 95 Brian Singer. I'm gonna need a bit more beyond Giancarlo
Uh,
Esposito.
that guy was Brett Ratner, wasn't it?
Brett Ratner, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Who else can I give you here? Gabriel
95.
Byrne.
95. Oh, Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects.
Oh my God, I should have got that earlier. Unbelievable. I totally
Yeah,
forgot
you did.
Giancarlo Esposito's in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You wouldn't have got it from because I can't remember Giancarlo
Oh,
Esposito being
that's
in it.
okay then. That makes me feel
Yeah,
better because I
no,
think that kind of threw me off the scent.
he's not prevalent in it. I don't think. I think he ends up being like a drug dealer or something. But he
No, that
is.
makes me feel bad because when you
Yeah,
were saying like Brian Singer 95, I was just like, well, like what the fuck could it be? And I was like, okay, yeah, so it
but
is.
listen. I mean, listen to this cast. Kevin
Great shout, by the way.
Spacey.
Great pick.
Uh, yeah, Kevin Spacey, Gabriel Byrne, Charles Palminteri, Stephen Baldwin, Benicio del Toro, Kevin Pollak, Pete Postlethwaite, Dan Hedaya, fucking Giancarlo Esposito, as I've said, even fucking Clark Gregg, what's his name? Coulson.
Yeah, it's got an amazing cast, and you know, some people might cough about the Kevin Spacey thing. He either did what he did or he didn't do what he do. I don't actually give
I'm
a shit.
only being
No,
funny.
I know. I
Yeah,
just to be
yeah.
clear, ahead of next week's podcast, I'm just going to treat it as what it is, a great performance, because it is easy to forget after with all the rigmarole around his personal life. It's just so easy to forget how brilliant Kevin Spacey is on screen quite often, and he is absolutely fantastic in this film.
This and Seven.
Oh, he's so good in
Fantastic enough.
Seven. I
Yeah.
loved him in Baby Driver. I thought
So
I fucking loved
I thought
Baby
he was good
Driver.
in Baby Driver. Yeah. So I can't wait till next week.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna have you guess the game now. How many reviews for this film?
Oh, there's going to be
I
so
can't
many,
wait till
right?
next week.
There's going to be
Can't,
so there was a lot. Yeah, there has to be.
yeah, there's a few.
Is it over 1,000?
Yeah.
Ooh.
One 1.6 K.
Shut the front door. Is that the most we've ever had?
I think so.
That might be the most. I know there
One
was like
thousand
one
six
where
hundred.
it was like a really odd one, which was incredibly high. I would expect this to be high, but
I think
that is
this is.
so much higher than most of the
I
movies
think
we've
this is
ever.
the first over 1,000 we've had,
I
but it's
think it is.
had
Yeah, yeah.
1,615 reviews.
Written reviews. People love this film though. It's like a proper hipster's choice. It's weird, but I think maybe part of it's the Kevin Spacey thing. I feel like it's dropped off the radar slightly, but there was like a good period of time where this was seen as like, especially you think of all the kind of classics that came out of 90s cinema and that vibe around like the new directors coming through. This was like a massive part of it. This was in that same conversation as stuff like Pulp Fiction and Train Spotting and stuff like that.
The twist, the twist of this.
Oh, the twist is amazing. And it didn't get spoiled for me, which was great.
No, and it's something that again, again, the only thing I can think of where he says where a twist has been bigger is The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that's probably. I mean, I remember when I was younger, a big one was Fight Club. That was another big one.
Yeah, that was 99 though. This was 95.
No, I'm just saying in terms of that decade.
Yeah, sorry.
Movie, because Sixth Sense was 99 as well, I think. I think they were both the same year.
Yeah.
So like you say, that kind of period, it was a big thing about having these twists and managing to get to the cinema without being spoiled, which was much easier back then because you didn't have the internet and all that jazz. Although one absolute cunt bag ruined Sixth Sense for me. But yeah, this movie, I had no idea the twist going into it. And yeah, it's an absolute belt of a twist. I mean, it still gets referenced today, in fairness. It's just one of those, like you see somebody's leg, doing the walk and then it crosses up. Or if you just see a board with just stuff on it, you're just like, oh, that's a Kaiser Soze board right there. But this is a film I've actually not seen for a long time. I watched it a lot back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like this was a big university movie. really was like one of those like hipster university movies. Everyone had it on DVD back in the day. But and maybe it is because for that aforementioned reason, it doesn't get, to my mind, it's just not on TV all that often. I can't remember the last time it was on streaming. Maybe
No,
it
I
was
can.
and I've just missed it, but it just doesn't feel like The Usual Suspect has been on my radar for fucking donkey years. So yeah, I think this is absolutely great. If you check to see if it's easy to watch over here, and I'm talking
Yeah,
about UK specific, of course.
it's easy for us, but it's
Hmm.
rentable. So you can
Okay,
grab
fair
it on
enough.
Amazon. Sky. I think if you've got MGM, it's
Hmm.
free on MGM. So
Oh, fair enough.
if you go for Amazon and get a trial, you could probably watch it. But
In fairness, I
you,
don't mind renting this. It's an absolute classic, and it's one I've not seen for a long time. So I'm actually
so
quite looking forward to this.
the last time I watched this was I haven't seen it for years.
Hmm.
Never had it on DVD. This is one that slipped through the crack. I don't think I've got it on DVD. Maybe I've bought it and never watched it. I just remember having it on VHS,
Hmm.
watching it a lot on VHS, and then when VHS went out the window, I've never watched it again. Because, like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
never found it on TV.
Hmm.
But I'm pretty sure it's probably one of the ones where I said, "All right, I have to own it." So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
bought it, I've owned it, but I've not watched it yet.
I've got plenty of
Yeah,
films like that where I'm just like,
yeah,
well, I bought it. I'm just like, oh well, when I want to watch it, it's just going to be there, and it's usually this podcast. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
finally, I found my excuse to pull this fucking DVD out or Blu-ray out of the cupboard,
So
whatever.
before I
But
jump on Prime, I might check my
your DVD
physical
collection.
collection and see if it's
Hmm.
there.
Hmm. Well, I'd be interested to see if there's like a 4K upgrade because I remember this being a pretty handsome looking movie, but we'll find out
Yeah.
next week. Anyway, dude, absolutely great shouts. We're staying in the early-ish 90s. I guess this is more mid
Yeah.
90s, but it is what it is. But yeah, I can't remember there being any hints
Do
of
you
white
know?
supremacy in this film, so I think we're going to be okay.
Do you know who the writer was? It shocked me.
No,
Christopher McQuarrie.
is it really?
Yeah.
Well, they did work together again on Mission Impossible, didn't they?
Well, he did McQuarrie direct the last couple of
Yeah,
Mission
yeah, but
Impossibles?
didn't he
Yeah.
write because Bryan Singer
Yeah,
directed
he
Mission
wrote
Impossible 3 and Quarry wrote Mission
he
Impossible
wrote
3, I think.
Fallout, he wrote Dead Reckoning, he wrote Top Gun Maverick.
And then he
You know?
directed the last two. And in fairness, I actually
Yeah.
think the last two aren't very good. But anyway, that's besides the point. We'll get to that next week. So anything else to add before we wrap this up?
No, mate. Oh fuck me. He also wrote The Way of the Gun. I fucking love that film. Ryan
I've definitely
Felipe
watched.
and Benicio del Toro again.
I've only seen that
But
film once.
no, mate. Oh, and he wrote Valkyrie. I will stop talking right now.
Okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
going to wrap this up in case he just keeps naming random films. Okay, I've been Liam, he's been Rob, and you've been listening to the Hey Guys podcast. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. He also wrote Jack the Giant Slayer. Bye now.
Oh, and before I forget, where can folk reach us if they were so inclined to?
Well, you can actually reach us on Hey You Guys 80s at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. But if you want to send us a mail, do heyyouguys80s at gmail.com. Send us in your recommendations. Send us in your thoughts about any of the episodes. Just literally talk to us. We'll have a one-sided talk with you on the podcast.
Yeah. We're nice folk. Get in touch. But no, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Hey, you guys!